Welcome back to Lead Talk. I am Lynn,
And I'm Kathleen.
and we are your host. We want to take a moment to thank every single person that has sent us kind words of encouragement, support.
For everybody that has taken a listen to what we've started and who supported us before and continues to support us as we've started this endeavor.
Yeah, I was not expecting that kind of reach already in 3 episodes.
Right.
But we are super appreciative of it. We want to thank every single person that's taken time out of their day to like, listen, comment, follow this
And let
journey.
us know your thoughts afterwards.
Yeah,
we really
yeah.
enjoy hearing back from those that have taken a listen.
We're very excited, if you guys can't tell. So thank you so much for that. Just on a side note, already we've released 3 episodes.
Yes.
And the most listened episode is Giles.
Guest episode. Yep.
Leave it to Giles. So again, thank you to him for coming on.
Thank you, Giles, so much for taking time out of your weekend that
Yeah.
you had planned.
His busy life.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, going on to episode 4. You're an adult now, I guess, or you're already adult, but now we're more adulty.
Right. There's the age mark of 18 where you're a mini adult to the rest of the adult world.
Yeah.
And then there's 21 where you're like, all right,
You get fancy drinks.
yeah, you get a few fancy knickknacks and
Yeah.
doodads. And then there's 26
The
where
bummer one.
yeah, it stinks. If you were being covered before with parents helping you with insurance, good luck.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah, they literally send a piece of mail that says, you're done.
Yeah, that's it. That's all. We're
Hey, but your car
even if your
insurance, I
parents
think.
would continue out of the kindness of your heart
Yeah.
or their heart.
Yeah.
The insurance company says
Yeah.
we're not.
Insurance says
We're not
you're
on
done.
that boat.
You're done.
Yep.
So, so how does that feel? Especially now we're like, 4 or 5 weeks away from Emily being here.
Yeah, essentially in the window of 4 to 7 weeks, maybe, of
Yeah.
Emily getting here. It stinks.
Yeah, I bet.
Absolutely stinks.
I remember those days, but they seem forever ago.
I mean, at least when you were booted off of yours, you were,
Had a job, had insurance.
yeah, had a job, had insurance, didn't have kids yet.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm right in the middle of having a kid, having another one. It's the worst timing ever.
Well,
But-
I think we've got this. We're lucky.
Yeah, we
we're
definitely
fortunate
do.
enough to have the blessings that we do of having a job and having
Yes.
a roof over our head, having insurance provided by our jobs. But yeah, it is a tough pill to swallow to see that insurance coverage from parents go away. So
Seriously, especially since mine was connected with the hospital before, since my
Yeah.
mom was a nurse
that's right.
here. So she had the fancy
Yeah.
plan that covered
Hey,
everything. And
Lord give it and Lord take
oh,
it.
no. What am I doing? Help.
Well, it is one of those things. We just got done celebrating your birthday. We got to spend some
Yes.
time with your family, and my family got to come as well. And
Mm-hmm.
we kind of did like a combination Easter and your birthday.
Sort of, yeah. Although I feel like for the majority that day kind of felt like Easter itself.
Yeah.
And then we actually celebrated my birthday out here at the ranch with 2 cottages.
Mm-hmm.
We celebrated with Doss that we were responsible for, and then
Yeah.
we celebrated with our friends over at Brown.
Yeah, we had some very special people in our lives, the Boca Negras.
Yes.
They went ahead and made dinner for Kathleen, which what was it called?
Giso.
Giso, yeah.
Yes.
They made giso for her, and they
And
also
then they
made
made the cupcakes, the butter cake cupcakes,
Yeah.
which you know them as.
ooey gooey cakes.
Yes,
Yeah,
there you go.
I've had quite a
They
few of
were
those in my time.
absolutely delicious. I'd had them before, but I'd only had the box mix.
Yeah.
And our friends went all out and did homemade
Yeah,
from scratch.
shout out
and
to
they were
Raphael.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
So then we, and like she said, it was really just Easter for primarily the day. And it's crazy because like when you have kids, now that you have kids, like when I was a teenager, it was like, oh, it's my birthday. Like today's about me. No, like in that day, I was more excited. I'm not gonna lie, for like Lily to go pick up Easter eggs and like
I
get her
was
Easter
too.
Bluey Easter baskets, because our daughter loves Bluey, and so like we bought.
She is obsessed with, well,
We are obsessed.
yeah, we're obsessed with Bluey. She's obsessed with Da.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every character, if y'all don't know, the intro to the show goes through every character in the order of mom, dad, bingo, Bluey. But our daughter always says dad.
Including after the first one. And the first one is mom.
Yeah. Oh, your
I
favorite
don't-
character's bingo? Well, now it's dad.
Well, now it's dad.
Yeah. Oh, you're the mom?
Dad.
You're dead.
Yeah, you're
So-
dead. I don't take any personal offense to that. It's fine.
Yeah. But no, that was really exciting. Like I kind of catch myself now caring more about the holidays than I ever did as a teenager or even as a young adult, because it's more of like the enjoyment on her face and the excitement and then
It's
getting
not
to make memories
centered
together.
on us as the kids anymore.
That is very true.
I mean, we're still the kids because our parents are still around, but we're not the kids' kids.
which is kind of ironic because all the Bluey stuff combined was probably like close to $100. Not gonna lie.
Probably.
But then I saw like a $15 Easter basket, and I don't know, maybe I'm snooty. I don't know, but I was like, I can't see myself spending $15 on that Easter basket, but I can see myself spending $25 on a Bluey backpack.
Right? And coloring book and stickers that
Yeah,
you can't even use yet.
Welcome to adulting,
Yes.
like parents adulting edition.
Right. Exactly.
So-
It's awesome.
But yeah, so you're 26.
I'm the age that you were turning when I met you.
Yeah, that's very true. That's why it seems so long ago. Like I'm telling you, my body is falling apart in these 3 years time difference.
Yes.
So, and you've given us a child and now another one on the way.
And now my body is falling apart.
Yeah.
Literally.
She's we've gone to Walmart a couple times and she's tried to hop on the scooter and I'm over here like, no, please don't. But I also understand she's hurting.
At this point, I'm like, can I make it another 4 weeks? We'll see. But thankfully,
hard.
God has blessed us with
Yeah.
an amazing care team in the last month, honestly. We found Heritage Birth Center in Abilene. And Alexandra Wyatt, she is the amazing midwife that owns and operates that birth center.
her and her husband.
And she, by looking at my panels, even before we were signed up with them to pay them for any of their services, she went ahead and was like, okay, these are not good numbers for your health panels, and we need to get you some stronger form of care, and we need to get you on supplements because you're not doing well.
Yeah, if there's anything I can say about that, like husbands, for future, if you and your wife are planning on having any kids, do not put your entire trust in the healthcare system alone. Because in Kathleen's instance, she had been anemic since week 10.
Yes.
And her iron levels were so low and her hemoglobin was extremely
continuing
low.
to drop.
Yeah, and
where
continuing to drop.
Essentially, my red blood cells weren't carrying oxygen to my body properly, which was
Right.
explaining why I could barely cross the house without being short of breath, feeling like I was going to pass out, feeling like a zombie all day long,
Yeah.
really.
So don't ever here's like what I would do is going forward, especially what we plan on doing for any future kids or any appointments going forward, is don't be afraid to ask those questions. Like, is that normal? What can we do to up that? What does it need to look like? Because if you don't ask those questions, they're going to perceive everything as all right. At least that's what it was in our case. And then we later went to this birthing center and they overlooked her numbers and they kind of panicked because they were like,
Her
you're this far
face
along.
literally turned white.
Yeah.
White
She
as
said,
a
you're this
sheet.
far along, and how are you still operating with those low of numbers? And we thought everything was fine. We
She
were kind of
literally-
told.
her mouth dropped open and she looked at me and goes, "How are you functioning?" And I was like, hang on.
Yeah.
I knew I felt really bad,
You were
but
how many weeks at that point again?
I was 29.
Yeah, I was going to say we were like
28,
close to
29.
the back half. And like that's terrifying as a husband because one, we just see our wives, going through this journey and we support in any way we can, but we don't know what's going on necessarily all the time in the body.
Internally.
Yeah. And so like advocate for your wives. Do not be afraid to speak up, to question, to ask, to follow up. Because like now I have a little bit of that internal regret because I saw on the computers the numbers and we were told that
Well, yeah, we were told that if you're like 11 is okay for pregnancies, second pregnancy, and your hemoglobin 10 is like not the worst, and we're only going to be concerned if it really drops below like 9.
yeah.
And that's where the concern was going to be, and that was with my OBGYN. And then as it turns out, the midwife that we're seeing, she was like, absolutely not. When you're pregnant, you need to be between a 12 and a 15. And we don't want to see you drop below 11. And I was like, excuse me? What? And not only that, but I expressed how things in this pregnancy felt different and felt more intense. And I had expressed that probably since 15 weeks in this pregnancy
Yeah,
to
because
my
you were
OBGYN.
having a very hard time in the beginning. I do remember that.
I was exhausted, and I knew that pregnancy was going to make me tired, but it didn't sit well with me that it was making me that tired that early on.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect it to be that difficult. I knew I was going to be tired with being pregnant, but I didn't expect to be that tired. And having just come out of having a miscarriage in July with Riley, I didn't know if it was correlated to that in being pregnant again so soon. I had a lot of questions about, like, could this be related to this, that, or the other? And all she would tell me is that the next pregnancies that you have can be a little bit more difficult, a little more painful. You can have different side effects because every pregnancy is different. But she didn't really take any of my concerns and dig into them or look any further past, oh, it's all a part of pregnancy. And so I kind of took that and was like, well, I trust this doctor, so I guess I trust her answers. But
we put, I would
I
say
really
a little too
should have
much,
known.
honestly. Yeah. Because it was very disappointing to keep going to this new facility that we're very excited about. And we're being told that this is not a healthy level. One, two, that the supplements that she was told to just take were over the counter.
Which that set off a red flag for you.
Yeah, because they're just, I can't even think of the word now off the top of my head.
Artificial,
No,
essentially.
no, it's not like artificial. They're like a blend, but it's
Synthetic.
synthetic blend. That's it. Yes, they're synthetic blends that are sold at a discounted rate because they lack the proper amount that if you were to buy it from an actual vitamin store.
Right.
And so to me, that's a huge red flag, from protein powders to pills to multivitamins, everything. And we were told, go get an over-the-counter iron pill
supplement.
and take it one time a day and not 3 times a day.
Yeah, exactly. And so when the midwife that we were going and seeing heard that, she was like, absolutely not. That's not going to do a thing for you. That's just going to pass straight through your system. You're not going to get anything from that. So she put me on a plant-based iron supplement, and that's doing a lot better. Like now, I know I'm at 8 months pregnant at this point in time, but now I feel more like a human being again and less just dead all the time now than I did being 4 months pregnant even. Like I felt more zombified and zonked all the time and couldn't think straight. Had bubble brain so bad, like pregnancy bubble brain. I couldn't retain anything from the day before. It was hard. It was really hard. But now I'm still pregnant. My body is at 8 months pregnant, so it's still kind of struggling with baby is heavier than she was back then. The muscles and tendons are still, they're the closest to the most stressed out they're going to be for this whole pregnancy. So there's still all of that there, but I feel in my body that I have more energy and I don't just feel completely drained to get up out of bed, to get a glass of water. I can do a few things. I still need to be kind of well rested and watch how I'm moving, how much I'm moving, but I am doing a lot better than I was 2 and 3 months ago.
Oh, absolutely. And like and speaking of the birthing center, like in the very beginning, I'm not going to lie, I was an uncultured swine when it came to like, one, these places exist, two, they're actually a better remedy than hospitals, and three, it's actually more affordable. Like you look at cost of, even with insurance, childbirth at a hospital where they charge you for every single thing they prep just to bring in the room.
Yes.
Then you look at the birth center price where they say, no, this is, you and the baby are covered for this set price, regardless of what's pulled out.
Exactly.
That was the first thing that I was like praying hard about.
And for those of us that are likely to have a healthy pregnancy and we're not high risk, we're not moderate risk, it's a really viable option.
Absolutely. And then you look at, again, our first meeting with her. She looked at those numbers and she pinpointed.
Didn't even have a contract signed.
Didn't take a dime from us and was willing to do more work at getting you healthy and getting you where you needed to be for Emily's sake than what, almost 30 weeks of appointments build up. And so like for me, like the praying hard on what is the right thing to do here, because again, I was not sure.
Yeah.
I was still like, well, a hospital is a safe place to be in case something happened. And I do think that has to do a lot now that I reflect back. I think that was because when we lost Riley, I think I still had that anxiety, that fear of what if something bad does happen. And then I had to like take a step back and sit in silence and think on it and talk with you and pray on it to say, okay, if this wasn't something that was a better option, if this wasn't something that could help my wife get healthier without God having an input in that and saying like, trust in me, trust in the direction I'm leading you in for you and your family and your daughter. Like that was a huge thing that like I caught myself getting teary-eyed or even outright crying over it because I was so anxious. I think I still, as a husband, and you know, I've spoken to several friends that are very close to me and they know who they are, but like when we lost Riley, I tell people my first concern was you, and it always will be. This pregnancy, I still have that in the back of my mind of like, I don't want anything to happen to you. I don't want anything to happen to our daughter. We have a great support system. We have the Yes Chat. We have the Cisco Church group.
I'm so thankful for everybody that spoke up during that time when we posted about Riley, because that was by far, we were so excited for Riley, and January was rough because Riley was due January 19th. And going through the new year, going through Christmas and kind of realizing like, wow, I'm pregnant now, but we were supposed to be at the end of this. We're supposed to be having another little baby join us at that time frame. That was hard. And you watched, I broke down in tears wrapping Christmas presents.
Yeah.
And
we have an amazing, again, we are blessed. We are so blessed with the people we have in our lives. From the Bocanegras and the Sedlasacs being there, the mom group that you've met through having
and
Lily.
Friends and family members just speaking up when we shared that post and saying, especially women, friends and family members that spoke up and connected with me either through a direct message or a comment on the post and sharing a little bit of their stories, and women that I never knew that had that shared experience. And it touched my heart to see everybody willing to be so open and vulnerable with me and share that and share their bits of encouragement in that moment.
It's a lot. It's still, I haven't really processed it. I still get teary-eyed. When I pray, I still pray for Riley and all of my passwords, which is our family. I include Riley. I think that that's a part of the topic for today's episode is adulting.
Yeah.
I still don't think that's something that I was ever really prepared for, or anybody can ever really be prepared for. But I do. I have to remember God has provided this birth center to us to be the place where we have Emily, to trust in them and trust in him. We're very excited,
Very much
but
so.
again, husbands, advocate for your wives, ask questions. Do not just take one thing that the doctor says and leave it at that. If you have questions, concerns, ask them, voice them, express them, because it may be, and I'm not saying that my anything I did is what caught this, but it did. You remember that day I asked her, I said, so is that level good? Because I could see on the graph that it was below, like it was in red, but she reassured us like, oh, that's a fine level. But then told you to go take that supplement, a synthetic supplement as a solution.
And I was even asking, like, are transfusions or iron transfusions something that we need to think about? Because I had shared with some friends on Facebook in a post that, hey, my iron levels are low and prayers would be a great thing right now, because finding this out could be part of what's been causing me to struggle. And a few of my friends that have had children before were like, well, when I was anemic, my doctor prescribed an iron transfusion. It made me feel so much better. And I was like, oh, well, I should talk to my doctor about that. I asked her and she was like, no, that's not necessary. That's going too far. What?
Yeah.
And then it turns out I turned around and got 2 of those anyway, because when my level hit 8.2 and even my doctor saw it, I guess she was like, oh, yeah, no, time to go.
And for I guess legal purposes, the entity shall not be named of this place, but it was very disappointing to trust in that facility. Mm. So you graduated college at 23.
Yes.
And then we worked DoorDash and Favor together. Mm-hmm. You worked at Michael's.
Yes.
Right?
Worked at Michael's.
And then you worked at a private school?
I worked at Michael's before I graduated. Worked at a private school just before I graduated for like 2 months. And then DoorDash and Favor through the rest of that year part-time.
Yeah. And then we were expecting Lily.
We both got into education, and then the following year we got engaged, and we're expecting Lily.
Yeah, it all bleeds together for me nowadays. I have way too many concussions. It really was. So then at what point, like from you graduating to where we sit right now and what we do, like were you content with like this is where I'm supposed to be?
Actually, okay, there's one point before graduating that I could tell you that I was content with where I was supposed to be. And that retreat that we went on together, that weekend retreat to the Hueys with the CCC, waking up the next day and just all the events that transpired in a day, which is like a whole story in and of itself.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you fell in the water. Anyway.
I didn't fall, I got dropped. We'll touch on that later, people.
Later. But yeah, the events that transpired through that day, and then on the ride back, I was just like, this feels right. This makes sense. And I was like, well, thank God I finally looked up at him and said, all right, your way, not my way. And then since graduating to now, another point where I recognized, all right, this is the way it's supposed to go. Probably, I mean, there's been several points of that, but if you want the very first one that I could think of, definitely when you proposed at Aches Lake. And we just had, it was you, me, and my mom, and we just had like a really fun day just hanging out and doing stuff. And then you proposed.
And I jumped off a cliff.
Yeah, you jumped off a cliff.
At like 280
several
pounds.
times.
Jumped.
Yeah, and I would have, but I was like, nah, I'm freaking out. I'm too scared.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, and then we went out to some rocks. It was a really pretty area with some rocks and cactus, but I was a little confused. I was like, I thought we came to swim. Like, what are we doing over here? What's so special about this thing? And I was out looking over the lake, and I turn around, and he's on one knee, and I was like, oh, my God. I started crying.
I had it all planned out, and
really
that's why your mom
beautiful.
went.
Yeah,
it's kind
she
of
was
weird.
taking pictures.
Yeah, I needed somebody to film it. So, no, so that's. I mean, I'm glad to know that that's where you were. Happy with where you're at. I think that it has been quite the journey because since meeting you, I've worked DoorDash, worked Favor, worked education.
You're welcome.
Worked education. Worked education, and then turned around, and now we are in the jobs that we're in now.
Which I never foresaw in my entire life. Yeah. I don't know about you.
Amen to that. But, I really do have to say I have you to thank for this because, again, we talked about it last time. I was so sold on education. Mm-hmm. Like, it's all I'd really ever known.
You were comfortable.
And so to take a step out of that world even though for probably 3 years in a row, I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm on my way out. I don't want this anymore. So to make that to make that transfer over to this, and now being able to stay home together,
Yes.
we're around each other all the
All the
time
time.
now. So for some marriages, they're like, I need my space. I need to go do stuff.
Yeah.
Us, that's not always the case, but we still do get to go do stuff on our own time, which will be, we'll touch on that on another episode.
Yes.
But we're blessed. We get to be stay-at-home parents with Lily, Emily. Leaving education, even that last year, I had to go back to work after Lily was born. And so I
Yes.
missed a lot of during the day stuff. And you put in all the work, all the effort. You were doing all of the beginning stages. And now that I look back on it, I try to think on it, and I'm not going to lie, it is a blur. It is. Because I'd come home after getting beaten up all day long.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to rest. I was tired.
Texting me your wild adventures through the day.
Yeah. And so for you to do all of that for Lily and still not have all the time to take care of yourself, like, thank you for doing all of that. As your husband, thank you, because we have a beautiful, healthy daughter.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do that and allowing me to stay home with her, because that was always my dream, to be able to stay at home with my children after having them.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know, in this world, it's hard to have a family and just have one parent be the sole provider.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It was hard.
Yeah.
I got smacked one time
It's
in the middle of the day, and I remember
insanely
thinking,
painful.
Kathleen is at home laying down in bed, and I'm getting beaten.
Well, that's what you thought.
Yeah, right, right. No, I do remember that.
Who
I
knows
got
what I was
smacked
doing?
one time, and I was like, and then I went and took a nap in my car for lunch. So,
Fair enough.
but yes, thank you for all the hard work you put in the beginning and now, up until now. You are an amazing mother to our daughter. You are my best friend. You are the love of my life. And so thank you for everything you've done. I'm very excited for us to do this part together for Emily.
I'm excited for this part together as well.
I'm nervous
I'm
for
excited
Lily.
to get to see I'm excited to get to see you getting to see what through the day kind of looks like. And I'm not going to say that it was ever discredited, because that's not how I feel and that's not what I think at all, because you were doing as much, if not more, than what I was doing during the day.
Well, it sucks because like the concept of you sell your time for pay.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's what I was eventually doing, is now that we started having a family, we had, I was working, you were at home with Lily. Like, I do feel like there was times that I was selling my time away from y'all just for compensation of pay. And that was sad. Like,
There
that
wasn't
was
enough pay, if we're being honest.
Yeah, I mean, teachers don't get paid jack. So,
No.
they, like that song says, teachers should get doctors and lawyers pay. I second that.
They really should, for what all they have to deal with. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But yeah, no, I strongly and greatly appreciated everything that you were doing throughout the day, especially hearing your wild adventures through the day. I would sit at home. Well, not always sit, but a lot of times sit, because I'd be stuck with a child right here on my chest. She ate a lot. Every 3 hours is not always the case. Sometimes it's an hour later. Sometimes it's 2 hours later. Sometimes it's 5 hours later. You just kind of...
Yeah, you got to go off the baby.
Yeah, pick and choose.
But you're over here tired or hungry all the time. So,
yeah, seriously. Oh my gosh, that year we ate so many peanut butter and jellies because I didn't have the energy to get up and cook.
Well, you also bought a whole thing of goldfish.
Yes.
And then threw Old Bay on top of the goldfish because the Old Bay goldfish were no longer being sold in stores.
They were delicious, but
They were,
I misjudged.
But then you ruined Old Bay goldfish for me. She practically, to me, she just took the lid off of Old Bay and threw it all in. That's what it felt like.
I think I pretty much did.
Which
is bad.
Let's talk about, that's a perfect transition. We were talking about like weird pregnancy cravings.
Oh.
And you have people that like chocolate and
Oh,
cheese.
no.
You have people that like Old Bay and Goldfish. Kathleen had the most, to me, outlandish, bizarre pregnancy crave
Even to me,
idea.
it doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. But we were talking about ice cream. And she spouts off one day. What was your suggestion?
I said that they should make a beanie weenie ice cream
You heard that right, folks.
for pregnant ladies.
Weenie ice cream.
Okay, you know what? There's something even crazier coming out that's an actual product now. I forget who's making it, but there's a sparkling water that's coming out that's going to be hot dog flavored sparkling water. It's legit. You can look it up. It's not an April Fool's
Where
Day
are we
thing.
going as humanity?
I mean,
That's
I
like
am-
boiling hot dogs, serving the
what
hot
is
dogs.
that one ice cream that's in the store that we both looked at and we went, but why? Is it ranch ice cream or was
Yeah,
it
no,
something
it
else?
might have been.
We both looked at it. We're like, that's straight up for pregnant
Yeah,
people.
yeah, exactly. I don't,
It's
there
a
are some
Van
flavors
Leeuwen or
out there that I'm
something.
like, I don't care who you are. You have to be going through something to buy this
Literally.
pint.
For like 10 months.
No, but the hot dog stuff, like, what is up with that? I don't understand. That's like boiling hot dogs, serving the hot dogs, taking the water, pouring them in an ice cube tray, freezing the ice cubes, and then serving your guest. Those, to me, that is the most disgusting thing. And then she spits out beanie weenie ice cream.
Well,
That
okay,
takes the
even
cake.
beanie weenies have hot dogs sliced up in it. So there's some sort of trend there. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm so glad my wife is not in
What
the
was
ice
it?
cream making business.
What was it this pregnancy? What was my strangest pregnancy craving this pregnancy? Do you remember?
My normal excuse is I've been hit in the head since then, but I haven't. So I can't honestly say what has it
I
been.
think we've just been really busy. It was the pickle gherkins covered in Valentina hot sauce with whipped cream.
Oh my god, that's right. I do remember that.
I've
to me wasn't that
craved
bad.
Spicy. It really wasn't. It was like
Yeah.
a salty, spicy, sweet.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I don't know. Pickles are more acceptable. Anything with pickles is more acceptable than hot dogs. I still can't.
yeah. Pickles were fun, but pickles started causing heartburn, so I had to give that up. Ironically,
So
pregnant and can't eat pickles. What's
here's
the
where
deal?
I'd love to get some feedback. Am I wrong for thinking this is a terrible idea? Or if you are a woman that has been pregnant and had a child and you had some outlandish cravings, please feel free to comment what those
please.
were so that way she can get support in this. And then if the comment section is bone dry, I will know I was right, that this is crazy.
Yeah.
So with that, let me ask you this. You're 26 now. You've done so much. We talked about some of the places you've been, things you've got to do. You're a wonderful mother to soon to be two, a wonderful wife to have, and a fabulous best friend. What are some goals before you turn 27?
Honestly, my top goal and top of the list priority is going to be to get my health back on track, and repair my body. So what that's going to mean is that 6 weeks and or 6 to 12 weeks after Emily gets here, really taking the time to rest myself and recoup and allow myself the time to heal properly internally before just getting up and doing all the things. But also really studying and researching during that time what are some good exercises to start with when I've reached the end of that healing time frame,
Right.
to be able to start to get my body back used to being active. Also looking into and researching what are good foods that I need to eat, what are healthy foods I need to eat, what are the percentages kind of, and things that will help me support. I want nutrition dense foods. I don't want to just be eating to eat because I'm starving. And I know I'm going to be starving, but I still want it to be like nutrition packed and not just fluff. Because we got a little fluffy after Lily, not gonna lie, a bunch of PB&Js.
I just
that
said it's
to you.
happy weight, but yeah.
Yeah.
People look at me and they're like, "What's your excuse? You weren't eating for two."
Actually, you know, when your partner in bed next to you is grabbing 3 triple stacked PB&Js, it kind of makes you want one. So, you know, there's that. But yeah, really recentering on my health, and I want to get healthy not just for myself now, but I want to feel like a human and be healthy for the girls. Because I realized in this pregnancy, getting as tired as I was, being as out of shape as I was, and still trying to care for Lily and make sure that she was healthy and not getting into things that would harm her, it became a task. It became a struggle to chase after her and to pick her up when I needed to, carry her where she needed to go. So I don't want to be that way. She's 23-ish pounds now, but she's not going to get any lighter. I don't want her to get any lighter, dear God. So I really want to be healthy and fit to be able to play with her and pick her up and lift her, carry both the girls, play with both the girls, run around, and I don't want to be dragging in behind, even if everything in life going on tells me or informs me you have every right to be exhausted. I still want to have enough energy during the day to be with my girls, to help them learn. Yeah, and be right there beside them, not 8 feet behind them.
Yeah. No, I completely understand
So-
that. That's one of the things too. Like we talked about my goals, and I didn't mention that, but yeah, I really want to lose the weight with you. Like I think that's something that we can do together. I fully support that.
And then we both got, for our birthdays, we both got the, help me remember what it was
Bible
called.
recap.
Yes, Bible recap. We got that.
We got all of it. We got the study guide.
The study guide.
We got the journal. We got the questions. We got the devotion or the small groups questions.
Yes.
So
I'm excited to go through that with you and learn from that and grow from that.
We're gonna both be Bible brainiacs.
Yeah, exactly. And I know for you as much as me, we want to be role models for our girls and show them that loving Jesus is absolutely everything in this world. Without a relationship with Jesus, you pretty much have nothing.
100%.
And so for me, in a way, it's not a burden that I feel, but I do recognize that we're having girls. And so I want to show them, and I want to make sure that I'm modeling not just what it is to have that relationship with Jesus, but as a woman, what it is to be modest, what it is to love the Lord with all your heart, what it is to really trust Him and seek out good qualities, and how to be a wife that is loving, that is wise, that is kind, that isn't hateful with words or attitudes. So with our girls, I want to make sure that I'm portraying what it is to be a loving wife, loving mom, have kind words, have kind responses. Even when I need to be firm with them or set a healthy boundary, like you're not going to touch the hot stove, even though you really want to because you think it's fun. I'm not going to let you get hurt. Even when I have to be firm in those moments, I don't want to be unkind or display anger and frustration. And you and I have both shared, like, there are different things from how we grew up that we don't want to carry on into the future. And I know my mom changed a lot over the years. She went from, I watched her patience grow over my lifetime with me. And she held herself accountable too. There were times that she would come to me and apologize that she had been short-tempered. And so I want to be that kind of mother for my children because I learned watching her example that there are times I'm not going to get it right, but that doesn't mean that I can't hold myself accountable and go to them and say, you know what, I didn't get this right and I love you and I'm so sorry. And can we move forward? And I'm going to get this right in the future for you.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's huge because being able as an adult to own up to your wrongdoings in the workplace, in your friendships, in your circle is big.
Yeah.
Being able to do that to your kids is even bigger.
It really is.
To me. You talked about generational habits and things that were instilled in our parents and were instilled in their parents. you see now in the younger generations now that there's a lot of posts, there's a lot of videos, there's a lot of articles
So
about
much influence.
breaking that and doing things differently. And it's not because we're straying away and we think we're better. It's because we realize the effects that it has.
Right.
And we realize that even though we were victims of some sense, or we were recipients of some of the things that our parents didn't quite have all the answers to,
Right.
doesn't mean that we have to pass that on to our kids.
And it doesn't mean that we're the generation that doesn't want to teach their child what the word no means.
Right. That too. That too.
It's actually not that fine of a line. It's just the understanding and the conceptualization of, if I don't want my child to yell, I'm not going to scream at them to try and get them to stop yelling.
Right.
If I don't want my child to hit me or hit somebody else or hit the puppy, then I'm not going to raise my hand to my child to teach them, hey, we don't hit.
Exactly.
But I am going to set a safe boundary where I move them away from what it is that they're doing that's inappropriate and get them in a safe zone. And then obviously with small children like Lily is now at 18 months old, she doesn't understand in that moment when we're trying to explain to her, because she's just frustrated that she can't have it her way in that moment.
Right.
And her feeling of frustration is just, it takes over her whole body because she wanted something. Mommy moved her where she can't have it, or daddy moved her where she can't have and do what she wanted to do. A lot of times we do see that paired with, she's just tired.
And then we get the Muppet drop where she throws her whole body back like a Muppet.
Exactly. So typically her safe space is her crib or her bed or
I just imagine like the Kermit the Frog flop. That's what Lily does, y'all. In case y'all have never seen it, she gets so mad and so frustrated. You could be picking her up and holding her and saying, no, no, no. And she throws her whole body back.
Absolutely. So we usually move to a padded area.
Yeah, we're to their bed, to the crib, to the playpen, to the pack and play.
Yes. And that is her safe zone for that moment until she can calm down. And sometimes I'll talk her through and be like, you can't be doing that. It's not safe, or it hurts me.
And just to kind of touch on that, some people are going to hear this and be like, oh my gosh, the Ledfords are gentle parenting. That's not even the case. What it is you have to understand that if you use the tone of voice if anger can be sensed in your no, the child's not going to understand no. The child is going to understand emotions, and then they're going to be scared. Yeah, and that is my thing. No offense to my parents, no offense to any parent out there that snaps when they say no.
Right.
But I do not have that fiber in me that my daughter will not do something out of fear.
Yeah.
I've seen kids react to when someone says no and flinch. And until you see that, you will not understand at times. There are several people that, I'm just going to tell my child no in a stern way, and they do it. They're not stopping doing it because
they're 5, 6, 7.
Right. But in the beginning,
there's a difference.
Right. But in the beginning, if you were just yelling no at your kid or stop or pulling them away from a whole situation,
and
like
they're not
forcefully
literally running into the street in front of a car or in a life and death situation,
right? If you
need them to stop momentarily.
Now again, if Lily goes to go towards the light plug, I'm going to pull her away from that because that's not safe. But if she's going to touch a vase that's on a table, I'm not going to scream at her no.
Right.
Because I do not want her to associate that word with a reaction of fear.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I think that's just something that, we want to parent our kids to understand really from an early age. It's not that we are telling them, no, they can't do it ever.
Right.
It's not that we don't want them to feel safe. It's just a concept of in the first stages, I'm not gonna lie, it is hard to figure out. It's hard to figure out what works. It's hard to figure out what routine has the best outcome. What time to start settling down for the night is going to have the best outcome. What meal is not going to lead to irritated stomach later.
Right.
It's
Especially
all
when you're feeding them foods that are essentially healthy for them,
mm-hmm.
but you're learning that their little digestive system acts just like ours does. I can't handle sausage to save my life.
Yeah.
It's not something that I'm ever sausage and salad as dinner
See,
foods
for me, it's
for
onions and jalapenos.
Yeah.
Like I know I cannot stomach those. So
And so
her
as
stomach may be
you're,
a combination of both.
and we're not even touching on sugary foods because that's the number one, like, obvious. That might not be the best thing before bed. But when we're thinking about healthy foods and things that you're wanting your child to try and eat, and it takes time to learn that their little tummies might not digest green bell peppers the same way that yours does, and it might actually give them gas or something like that. So
Right.
it's a huge learning curve. It's been a huge learning curve for us with her.
It's all been a part of adulting.
Yes.
Adulting as parents.
Exactly.
No, so I mean, with that, I'm very excited for this next year with you, of course. I'm excited for every day with you. I cannot wait to see what you
I'm
do.
excited to actually get to see you be at home with Emily
I'm very excited for that.
and get to watch her more time with her than what you had with Lily.
Well, thank you for that. I'm
Yeah, of
excited.
course.
And I think
I know you're going to be great at it. You're already great at it with Lily.
Well, thank you. That means a lot. That means a lot. All righty, guys. Well, with that, I think that is a pretty good closing point for this episode.
So.
Again, happy belated birthday, dear.
Oh,
I love you. Just a news flash, guys, before we do go. So Kathleen, of course, is getting ready to give birth to Emily here in the coming weeks.
Yes.
We probably got a few more episodes with her on, and then she's going to...
I'm going to take a hiatus and be a literal shut-in mom.
Yeah.
Learning with a brand new baby that will not know how to eat yet. So going to be going through that process again and learning what her schedule is like, what she's like. She's already a spitball compared to her sister. So, fireball is what I meant to say. She's very active.
So during that time, we'll probably have a couple more guests. We may see some guests come back, but we do have a lot of things planned during that hiatus, and then hopefully whenever she comes back, we'll be able to pick up on some stuff. But we treasure you for having you on now.
Oh, thank you.
Always enjoy looking across the couch from you.
I enjoy looking across the couch from you.
But again, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. And until next time, I am Lynn.
I'm Kathleen.
And this has been Lead Talk.